This probably is the single most important chapter we have ever gotten of The Promised Neverland. This just changed the entire objective of this series, gave us clarification to William Minerva. It was just an incredible chapter. Easily my favorite chapter of the series thus far because of just all the information it gave us. So, at the very least from what we now know, William Minerva, he is not a bad dude. He is not a demon in disguise. He is not a dude that was setting up the children to eventually find him and then he was going to devour them. That is not the fact at all. William Minerva is a good man. Just things fell through and things didn't turn out like he planned, which does make sense. That's how life is. So, the clarification we got. William Minerva, he realizes that his method to getting the children all there was, in a way, not the best method. For instance, using pens to using Morse code and stuff in the books and all that, it probably wasn't the best method because only a certain limited amount of people would ever be able to discover this and be able to get to where they are right now. For instance, where Emma's at, where Lucas is at, all of them, how they managed to escape from Gracefield, only a certain limited amount of people would. Basically, what this lets us know is that he knows for a fact that he was leaving Minnie out for the cold to just die, basically. He, couldn't save everybody, and he feels very guilty about that, and he wants to atone for that. He even starts off the entire conversation of the recorded message of basically saying he owes them an apology. And he even states that he's very, very, very aware of what's going on. And he also states that he also is one of the main reasons why it's going on. He is a part of the William Minerva clan. He is the 35th head, and the man apparently has been upholding the promise for all of those generations and years. All the individual heads before him and all that have been upholding the promise for over 1,000 years. And so because of his position and things that could possibly go wrong if he was to act out and willingly go out of his way to break the promise, things would get very bad. And so it's implied that even though he cares a lot about the children, all that, the people have been turned into human cattle, he can't really do much about it besides doing little side things on the side. For instance, what he's been doing this entire series. No, we need more details on that. There could be some other restrictions that he has that we just don't clearly understand. But for now, though, it does seem that he feels very guilty. He realizes that it's just disgusting and sick what's been going on all these years, and it hasn't been stopped at all. Now, speaking of what has been going on, it is implied in this chapter that the human world doesn't care about Emma or any of the other children. The human world, don't care. Let me explain why. We can get this from this chapter. William Minerva and his entire clan have been upholding the promise for generations. And we even see test tubes where you see the children forming into these test tube vials and stuff. Or it looks like they're being shipped off. And so this is letting us know that mainly the children where they come from, they actually do come from the human world. And they're just being, made there and then shipped off into the demon world. And so that's how they're constantly transported, which is very, very messed up. It's an extremely messed up situation, and basically they have went out of their way willingly to give up human children to the demons to stop a war from breaking out between the sides. Now, in a way, it's kind of a good thing. They're trying to keep world peace for everybody, and they're probably thinking about it like this: sacrifice the few to save the many. That's probably what's going on in their head. That's probably what the demons are thinking and what the humans are thinking. Sacrifice the few for the many. And that's happening right now. And even though it seems like that would be a logical way to go about it, it's still cruel and sick. And this does let us know that humanity is not on the children's side. If they were to break out and go into the human world, they might not get as much support as they thought. Or there is a possibility that the average citizen in the human world doesn't even know about the existence of demons in the first place. We also got to factor that in, because we got to remember, when it comes to stuff like this and government and all of that, government likes to hide certain things, and I could definitely see something as, important as the promise and William Minerva and all of that with the demon world. I could see, the government and all the politics over in the human world keeping it on the down low, hush-hush, situation, not letting anyone know at all. That's definitely a possibility just because of how society usually is. But regardless, though, majority of the people higher up, they're probably not going to help out the children at all. For instance, government officials, the people up there in, political standing, they'll probably just throw the children under the bus to get them back over into the demon world, for the promise isn't broken in the first place. So, yeah, going into the human world is not going to be as easy as we thought. Even if they manage to get over there, it won't be that easy. Now, besides that, we also need to talk about the fact that there is 3 paths that our characters can take. And I want to point something out. Many might have already noticed this, but if you, for some reason, haven't noticed it, I want to let you know. There's 3 paths. 3 objectives, okay, to say that the series can go. It can either go down the path of, going into the human world secretly and, having a fun and, life and all that. Basically, if Emma was to break back into, Gracefield and all that, rescue the children, they can secretly try to get into the human world through a certain pathway, which then they would be able to live out their days in peace, depending on however that goes. But that is one objective. Another objective is all war would break out, the promise is broken, and demons and humans collide, and they're going at each other. It's a worldwide war going on. That is another thing that could possibly happen. And then there is a very weird wild card third option that we don't really know much about, and it definitely needs clarification: the 7 walls. Now, this has already been name dropped by Musica a while back. We even see in this chapter that it's mentioned once again that Musica even told Emma a while back about it. Now, this does imply that Musica is very, very important probably later on for the plot, and there's definitely something going on with her as a character for her to say something like that to Emma, and now it's mentioned once again. But regardless of that, though, it does let us know that there's 3 objectives, and take a moment to think about what this means. We have 3 characters: Emma, Ray, and Norman. Now, I know many of you are going to say, whoa, Chibi, back up, Norman's dead. Okay, I understand why I say, many would say he's probably dead, but we never saw a body, okay? And from the scene we got, the final scene we got of Norman, he opened up a door with Isabel and all that, and he was shocked. His face was utter shock. Like, he's like, what? Like, he was just shocked because he knew what to expect. He already seen the demons. He knew what to expect. He knew what was coming. So him having a shocked look on his face didn't make much sense, especially for how intelligent he was as a person, willingly walking into the, the wolf's den to sacrifice himself. But then when his face was utter shock and he's like, what? It's just like, okay, something's going on there. Something's very off, something's very weird. And ever since then, there's been a lot of fan theories that there's a possibility that he might have been, being turned into a scientist. Like, he could be a scientist working on making new children, or he could be being used to breed more children to continue on in the plantation. There is a lot of theories about this, but from what we can get from this point now, is that most likely Norman, he's in the human world. He most likely is actually alive in the human world. Now, I know many are going to say, okay, for what reason, Chibi? Why? Like, how or why would he be in the human world in the first place? Well, it is implied that the actual caretakers, the people that watch over the cattle, or human cattle, Isabel and all of them, it's implied that they actually went into the human world to train. And so, most likely, if Norman was important in any way, they most likely sent into the human world with William Minerva's clan to train, to do whatever. Or, another crackpot theory that could possibly be, maybe Norman is related to William Minerva. Now, I know that's a big leap, that's a big stretch, but let me explain why. Look at William Minerva's design, or James's design. I think that's his name in this chapter that he revealed. That was actually just a fake name, but I'm still going to call him William because it's just a better name. But basically, though, we see the dude's character design. We actually finally get to see William's face and all of that, and his face, he has a similar style, similar to Norman. If you go back and look at Norman and compare, they're very similar. It's like Norman is a younger version of him. So, there's a likely possibility that Norman was sent into the farm. Maybe for some reason, maybe it's a way to kind of make the next head of the family, William Minerva's family. It makes it to where they're ready to lead the charge and understand that they don't want to be, with the demons at all. Maybe it's like a coming-of-age ceremony thing or something like that. So, most likely, Norman, there is a likely possibility that he is related to him because of how similar they are in terms of design-wise, hair color, and all of that. So, I just want to point that out, that could be another thing. Maybe Norman is the new head of the family, and his new objective, since it would fit with Norman's overall ideals and how he is as a person, secretly sneak people out. It would fit. Ray would fit with a certain objective of, you know, wanting to cause war and, you know, destruction, all that, cause both sides to go at each other. While Emma, she's definitely someone that's more of a curious person, and I can definitely see her going to third option, which would be the 7 walls. So we have 3 objectives, 3 characters. Obviously, Norman has been implied not to be dead, especially in this chapter. So, yeah, I just want to point that out. If you were unaware of it, there you go. Anyways, let's also talk about what happened to the place that they're now at, Goldie Pond. So, at one point in time, William ran into an issue. One of his close friends or colleagues or whatever, they betrayed him. Now, this is a very curious matter, because you're like, why? Like, why would you do it? Like, why would you do that? I mean, morally, you'd think you would want to save children. Now, there could be multiple reasons for this. Maybe William is not giving us the entire picture. There could be a lot more than we actually understand. But for now, though, it seems like the reason why someone betrayed William and Minerva in the first place was probably because they wanted to keep the status quo. They didn't want to have, you know, all-out war between the sides, and so they wanted to make it to where they were safe, they were keeping everybody else safe, and like I said earlier on this video, they wanted to sacrifice the few for the many, and that's probably what was going on there, and that's probably why they're trying to hush, you know, William so much, is because they don't want him breaking the promise. Possibility. But for now, though, we do know that the pathway where they're at was shut down, and it was a path leading to the human world. So the elevator is a pathway. So it is implied that it most likely is a teleporter. So we have some form of futuristic or magic. We still don't even know. We don't even know if it's magic or futuristic technology. It still makes no sense to me. But I mean, even then, you wonder, like, why is there such an old-looking phone? But then, if that's a teleporter, you'd think they would have a better phone, like a better phone to use for the children to have a recorded message to listen to. But I mean, regardless, the point still stands is that it's still not clarified if it's magic or advanced technology, but it is now known that they're probably in some form of other dimension or something like that. Either some separate half that nobody can normally see, like the human world is on the side that the demon world can't normally see, or you have it to where it's like a separate dimension or something. Similar to, you know, how, Stranger Things is, you know, the Upside Down world and stuff. I don't know how many of you watched that, you know, series, Stranger Things, but you remember how the Upside Down world is? It's like a replica, but you flip it and all that, and it's like a little bit different. That might be what's going on here. Maybe it's an Upside Down world thing going on, possibility, and maybe that's kind of how the actual pathway works. Maybe it just leads him to, like, a reflection of the world, an alternate dimension. So, yeah, he was betrayed, though, and we know that William Minerva is still relevant because we saw one of the scientists that, you know, Sister Crone walked near, dropped the pen in front of her. So there is a likely possibility that his will still lives on, but he might be long gone, though. So that is good to know, but still, though, it's interesting how this entire series just opened up with a lot of details, like clarifying 3 different paths our characters can take. We have 3 main characters, and on top of that, we have some very interesting stuff going on with William, letting us know that there's more things that are making this a lot more complicated than we knew in the first place. So I'm going to end it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload my next video, please click the bell icon down below next to the subscribe button. So I love you guys. Please be safe. Stay healthy. Chibi out.